Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving into one of the absolute pillars of object-oriented programming, encapsulation. Look, whether you're cramming for an exam or just trying to like better, more professional code, you have to understand this. So stick with me, and I promise you'll walk away knowing exactly what it is, why it's such a game changer, and how to start using it like right now.
But first, let me ask you something. Just take a second and think about the code you write. Is the data inside your objects truly safe? For real? Could some other part of your program just waltz in and set a person's age to, I don't know, -50? Or maybe change a username to a totally blank string? If there's even a tiny chance of that happening, then you are in the perfect place. The whole problem usually starts with one little 6-letter word, public. Making your data public feels easy at first, right? But honestly, it's like leaving the front door of your house wide open with a sign that says, "Come on in." You are just asking for trouble. Let's look at a classic example. Here we have a simple human class. It's got two variables, age and name. And you see it right there, that public keyword. What that means is that literally any other piece of code in your entire program can directly see and mess with these variables. And this is where it all goes wrong. Because age is public, anybody can just create a new human object and set the age to something that makes absolutely no sense, like -99. And the worst part? The code doesn't care. It'll run just fine. But now your object's data is totally corrupt. We have zero control, none. What's really cool is how this connects to real life. I mean, think about it. You've got all this private information in your brain, right? Your thoughts, your memories. You don't just let people reach in and grab whatever they want, no way. If someone wants to know your name, they have to ask you, and then you get to decide if you want to tell them. Our code should work exactly the same way. And that brings us right to our solution, our hero for the day, encapsulation. This is the principle that lets us build a protective barrier around our data and take back control. So what's the textbook definition? Encapsulation is all about bundling your data, your variables, and the methods that use that data together inside a single unit, which is our class. But here's the most important part. We then restrict direct access to that data. We're building a wall around it. This is why you'll often hear it called data hiding. And that's a perfect name because that's exactly what we're trying to do. Here's a great way to picture this. Think of a medical capsule. The actual medicine, that's our data, is safely sealed inside that little plastic shell. You can't just reach in and touch the medicine directly. You have to interact with it through the capsule. Well, that's encapsulation. The class is the capsule, and it's protecting the precious data inside. Okay, so how do we actually build this capsule in our Java code? Well, it all starts with one simple, incredibly powerful change. We make our variables private. And as you can see, the change itself is tiny. I mean, look at it. We are literally just swapping out the word public for private. It might seem like a small thing, but believe me, this has a massive impact on how our code behaves. So what does private actually do? It's pretty simple. It's an access modifier that basically puts up a do not enter sign. It tells Java, hey, this age variable, it can only be seen and used by the code that's written inside this human class. That's it. Nobody from the outside can touch it anymore. And here's the proof. The second we make age private, that old line of code that tried to set it directly, it breaks. It won't even compile. The compiler will stop you dead in your tracks and say, nope, that field is not visible. We've successfully locked the door. Now, this leads to a really logical question, one you're probably thinking right now. Okay, great. We've locked the data away so tight that no one can get to it. Isn't that kind of useless? Why even have it? And that's a fantastic question. The answer is we don't want to block access completely. We just want to control it. And the way we do that is by creating special public methods that act as the official gatekeepers to our private data. You've probably heard of them. They're called getters and setters. It's a really straightforward system. You've got two types. Getters, just like the name says, are for getting or reading the data, and setters are for setting or writing new data. Simple as that. We make these methods public so the outside world has a proper way to talk to our class. Let's look at the actual code. The getAge method is super simple. It's public, and it just returns the value of our private age variable. Easy. But the setAge method, now this is where the magic really happens. It's also public, and it takes the new age you want to set. Right now, it just assigns the value. But this method is our new control point. So from now on, instead of trying to touch the variable directly, we go through our gatekeepers. We call setAge to update the value, and we call getAge to read it. We are no longer exposing our raw data to the world. We're exposing a safe, controlled interface. All right, so we've made variables private. We've written these new getter and setter methods. Why did we do all this? Why does it matter so much? Well, the benefits are absolutely huge, especially when you start building bigger, more complex applications. I mean, just imagine a banking app where any piece of code could directly change an account balance. It would be total chaos. Encapsulation is what prevents that chaos. Okay, this is a super important slide, especially for exams or interviews, so let's break it down. First, control. Inside your setAge method, you can now add validation. You can write code that says, if the age is negative, reject it. You are the boss of your data. Second, security. Your data is now hidden away, safe from other parts of the program that might misuse it, either by accident or on purpose. Third, flexibility. This one is awesome. You could totally change how you store the age internally. Maybe you decide to store birth date and calculate the age. As long as your getAge method still returns the right number, all the code that uses your class will never know the difference. And finally, maintainability. Your code is just so much easier to manage. When there's a problem with an object state, you know exactly where to look, the setter method. And that all brings us to the core idea. The one thing I really want you to remember from all of this. It's simple. Don't expose your data. Keep it private. Instead, expose well-defined public methods that act as the doorway to that data. When you start doing this, you're not just writing code anymore. You're designing software that's secure, flexible, and truly professional.